This is V. Welcome to AiGentic Lab AI Foundations Workshop. Welcome to your first automation blueprint session. Today we will build a structured approach to AI implementation. You will leave with a repeatable method you can use immediately. Now let's get started. By the end of this module, you will be able to do 4 things. You'll learn how to apply the trigger process output model to real business challenges. You'll know how to articulate AI problem with the clear measurable outcomes. You'll develop a practical implementation blueprint for your organization, and you will map the right stakeholders and integration points so delivery is smooth. That's our roadmap for this session. Here's our 8-step process. I'll name each one and then we will do it all together throughout the session. Number 1 is identify the problem. Define the business need and not the technology. Remember to focus on the value. Number 2, map the workflow. Document the current process exactly as it runs today. You will need the baseline later on. Number 3 is define your TPO. Structure the trigger, process, output. Essential parts of your new process. Number 4 are success metrics. Set the measurable goals before you build. This is how you will know that you were successful. 5, you will need inventory of your resources. Assess your data and your tools with honesty. If your data is mismanaged or systems are not in place, you will need to know that now. Next one is human in the loop. Decide what humans review or approve for trust and buy-in. Number 7 is you will draft your blueprint. Review 1 to 6 and turn ideas into a deliverable plan for your business context. And last but not least is review and the next steps. Evaluate, refine, and sequence for delivery. Today we will work on all 8. Step 1. Identify the problem. We start with the needs and not features and focus on value. Focus on a core problem and not the solution. Anchor to the business outcome you want to improve. Consider using 5 whys to get past the symptoms and identify the root cause. Keep asking why until you hit the root cause and it's clear. Run a quick impact assessment if the change is made. And then prioritize the opportunities with the highest value and the highest frequency. If the one that springs to mind doesn't have enough meat on the bone, pick a different one. Consider how you're going to size the pain. Now quantify that current cost. Consider time metrics. How many staff hours per week or month are wasted or could be saved? Get the real numbers from the team. Don't forget the quality issues. Error rates, rework, and how often things bounce back. Opportunity cost is often misunderstood. What higher value work gets delayed or dropped out, or perhaps sales don't happen because of something not happening fast enough or happening too often. And define customer metrics, such as response time, satisfaction, or retention. Put a number on the pain so that ROI is obvious later and can be demonstrated easily. Here's a clean example. Process, customer support email handling. Pain point, 15 or more hours per week wasted on manually sorting emails, with a 3 out of 5 stars for customer satisfaction due to slow response. Impact if AI implemented, 24-hour response time, 4.2 stars out of 5 satisfaction. And the business goals, faster response and a higher satisfaction. Simple, specific, and measurable. If you are doing it by yourself or with your team, spend a few minutes and draft a 1-paragraph problem statement for your priority challenge. Be clear, specific, and measurable. Okay, the step 2, map your current workflow. When you can see the work, that's when you can improve the work. Spend a couple minutes and write down the process. Which single step within that process causes the most friction today? Say it out loud and share with your neighbor. Name the step and name the cause. We will use it in the blueprint later. Common SME bottlenecks, usually broken down into 3 clusters that we see again and again. Data entry and processing. That could be manual forms, duplicate entry, document processing, validation. This often eats 30-40% of the admin time on any given process. Then we have communication gaps, email overloads, prioritization, silos, and follow-ups. About 25% of project delays start here. And the next one are decision points. Approvals, exceptions, compliance checks, and resourcing. Around 45% of processes delay happen at the decision stage. AI opportunity here is that these are pattern-heavy and repeatable. They are perfect for augmentation and automation. Let's define the trigger, process, and output. Within the workflow mapped, we structure AI solution. Everything fits within trigger, process, and output. Trigger is what starts the flow. Would that be email received, form submitted, schedule time, or data threshold? Process is the transformation. That's extracting, classifying, analyzing, and deciding on some kind of data. And the output is the result. It could be a recommendation, an automated action, a report, or perhaps just a notification. Keep it tight, keep it testable. If you have a process that's large, it's likely to be better to be redefined as a multiple sub-processes and then evaluate each individual sub-process with a TPO in mind. It's worth repeating myself and do a bit of a deeper dive here. What kind of triggers out there? Those are time-based, event-based, data-based, or user-initiated. Pick the one that naturally occurs within your process. Within the body of process, find the repetitive and bottleneck steps. Split decisions into AI-handled versus human judgment, and map the data needed. For the output, define a specific deliverable. Make it measurable, ensure it drives action, and has a business value. Question for you: how will you measure success? For the triggers, what naturally initiates your workflow? Perhaps it's a scheduled report, a new inquiry, a stock threshold, or a staff request. Choose one trigger and write it down. Now outline the transformation needed. Which steps are rules-based and repeatable? Where do delays occur? Consider which decisions can AI possibly handle, or where must humans stay in the loop. List the inputs needed at each step so nothing is missing. Make the outcome crystal clear. What exactly will be produced? A decision, a report, or an action? How will you measure it? Time saved, accuracy, or cost reduced? And what the next step will it trigger, if any? Do you collect a feedback, perhaps? Next, we define a success before we build. Two lenses: business outcome and solution quality. Business outcome could be 50% faster processing time within 3 months of launch, or a £10,000 annual saving, which could be aligned to company KPIs. Now for the quality, it could be 95% correct classification, or less than 5% variance, GDPR met, or 80% staff satisfaction. You need to track both why you're doing this and how well it works. Both are equally important, especially when AI often seen as a system that hallucinates. With success defined, check your data and tools. This is the foundation that makes AI work, and often the reason that causes the most delays. The reality check for UK SMEs that many of them simply not ready. 76% of UK SMEs have data scattered across systems. Only 30% have a complete data inventory, and 62% struggle with quality and consistency. 41% of SMEs cite GDPR as a major concern. What data do you have, and what data do you need for your workflow? Perhaps customer records, transactions, communications, product info, or something else. Where does it live? Is it in CRM or spreadsheets? Email archives or legacy databases? Is it already in the cloud storage or buried within software as a service systems? You might need to start the data inventory that you need for your workflow today. When gaining access to the data that you're going to need for the workflow, you need to plan for access and compliance. Perhaps there are GDPR obligations, security and permissions to consider, integration challenges, or just data quality and update frequency challenges. A clear inventory reduces the risks and speeds up delivery. For your tool inventory, you might need to list the systems you already use in your workflow. Core systems could be your CRM, ERP, or accounting systems. What's used for the communication? Email, chat, or ticketing system. And for productivity, is it Office Suite being used, perhaps a project tools? And of course, you need to consider your industry-specific software. You will need to consider integrating some of this software if it isn't integrated already. When considering compatibility for the integration, think about application programming interface and webhooks. Check data formats and schemas, and consider security, such as authentication and permissions. You will need to decide on a sync frequency. Is it going to be real-time or batch? Now let's decide where human expertise complements AI. This is how you keep quality and trust high. Consider who is interacting with your system. Who are the primary users and daily operators? Map your secondary users, perhaps someone who is using the system only occasionally. And don't forget other stakeholders, people that receive the outputs from your workflow. And last but not least, your administrators, which could be your IT department or others, people who are responsible for maintaining and configuring the software. You will need to note their technology comfort, availability for training, and change readiness. Perhaps consider minimizing the change where possible. Where is the human input needed in your process? What critical decisions, unusual cases, or quality checks, perhaps edge scenarios that will need to be handled? Design your approval workflow and consider routing low-confident items to a person. Offer a simple review interface. Consider the review interface people already familiar, such as chat messages, Slack, or email. Feed the human feedback back into the learning system if possible. Let's look at some real examples. Phoenix Fire Design in Manchester faced the challenge of slow content creation. They implemented AI to generate drafts. Humans were in the loop to create and refine and make sure it's on tone. As a result, 80% faster drafts and a higher created value. Another example is Northshire Accounting. Their challenge was 20 hours a week was spent on the manual invoice processing. AI was implemented to document extraction and validation, and human remained in the loop dealing with exceptions and approving the final drafts. The result was 65% 65% faster process and 92% accuracy. Last but not least, a coastal breweries in Cornwall. Their challenge was inconsistent quality control. AI was used to implement a predictive fermentation monitoring. Humans responded to alerts and adjustments. As a result, 40% less variation, 15% reduction in waste. You see the common threads across these examples that AI handles repetition and humans add judgment. Implementing AI and implementing automation requires practical tools. Here's some options for you to consider. Prices are indicative. Zapier offers between £20 to £60 a month. It has 5,000 integrations and it's a truly no-code. It offers AI actions, quick setup, and now even AI agents. It has a limited complex logic and it's excellent for beginners. Make is between 9 and 45 a month. It's a visual builder, advanced logic and error handling. It offers data transformation, but it also offers a steeper learning curve. NA10 is our preferred option. It's free if it's a self-hosted, and if hosted, it goes up to about £70 a month. It's open source, offers full control, custom options, and pretty much no usage limits. It requires some technical skills, but it's most flexible. Consider starting simple. You can always upgrade later. Okay. Now let's draft the blueprint. All pieces come together here. Let's look at an example before you start documenting yours. A trigger, a customer email arrives. AI process, classify the topic and draft a reply. A human review would be to approve or edit that draft. The final output is send the response and log the ticket. Benefit is 60% faster on a response time as the time saved drafting the email, with the humans still adding the personal touch and being personally accountable. Okay, take 10 minutes to draft your blueprint. Write the problem, map the trigger process output, list data, systems, and mark human checkpoints. Use the template on the screen and fill the blanks. Pause the video and come back to it later. If you are doing it in a group, swap with a partner for a 5-minute review. Is the problem clear? Are the metrics measurable? Consider, are the data sources identified? Are the human checkpoints appropriate or perhaps require adjustment? Is it feasible for an SME to start and implement it? Offer constructive feedback. If you are working by yourself, consider sharing your progress in the comments below. Spend a moment and rate the complexity of your workflow. Go through data, such as sources, formats, integration required, and connection ease. Think about the process, number of steps and decisions. Consider change impact, training and workload shifts. What technical requirements and skills and infrastructure required. Rate each between 1 and 5, with 5 being the most complex. If your total is 15 or under, it's a great start for an SME. If it's a 15 or over, perhaps you might be biting more than you can chew. For the step 8, let's review the key points and plan what happens next. Feel free to pause here. I listed on the screen the key takeaways from this session and also additional points you might consider if you would like to take this further. For your action plan after this session would be to refine the blueprint with your team. Get input from your stakeholders and experts. Build a focused proof of concept. Make sure the blast radius is small when trying it out. And aim to demonstrate the value quickly. Measure results against your metrics and share the wins. Consider iterating based on the feedback and data. And remember, AI implementation is iterative. You need to learn and adjust as you go. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Thank you for watching all the way until the end. For the final activity, consider what part of the blueprint excites you the most and what one question do you still have about AI implementation. We're going to be working on the next Module 7, discussing technology stack and the budget planning. We will discuss how to select and budget for your AI tools. You can jump to that session in the playlist or consider these other additional videos that you will find relevant. And I will see you in the next one.